The walls are physically moving toward you, while the smell of burning garlic fills the air. Every time the oven door opens, it hits your shins, and if a second person enters the room, it feels like a wrestling match in a phone booth. This is the Galley squeeze, a high-stakes architectural nightmare where your kitchen feels less like a home and more like a storage container for stress. Most people think the only escape is a sledgehammer and $20,000 they don't have. They assume that because the floor plan is tiny, the design must be a sterile, hospital white to save it from looking like a cave. This is the biggest lie in interior design. That flat, boring white actually highlights every cramped corner and hard boundary, trapping your eyes in a box. The real secret to doubling your space isn't found in a blueprint. It is hidden in the physics of color and the psychological trickery of light. Today, we are dismantling the white box myth to transform your culinary closet into a sprawling, lived-in luxury masterpiece. Before diving into the palette, we must address why the all-white kitchen often fails. While bright white reflects light, it also defines exactly where a room ends. When the brain can easily map the limits of a space, it feels small. True expansion comes from blurring those boundaries. Using colors that recede or flow into one another tricks the optic nerve into seeing depth where there is only a wall. Design history proves that the most iconic Parisian kitchens or moody London flats don't fear color. They embrace it to create layers. Depth is the goal. If we create three-dimensional layers, the physical square footage becomes irrelevant. Start with a combination that feels like a quiet morning in the Cotswolds. This is a very specific, desaturated off-white with a whisper of green in its soul. It is soft and breathable. When this color hits the upper cabinets, it begins to melt into the ceiling. The trick here is painting the walls and upper cabinets in this exact same shade. This eliminates the visual stutter that happens when eyes jump from a colored cabinet to a white wall. By creating one continuous plane of color, the top half of the kitchen effectively disappears. To keep this from feeling like a cloud with no ground, pair it with a deep, rich walnut on the lower cabinets. The weight of the walnut pulls the center of gravity down. This creates a psychological sense of stability. When the bottom feels heavy and the top feels light, the ceiling feels as though it is floating away. Adding unlacquered brass hardware adds a layer of history. During the golden hour, that mist color picks up the orange hues of the sun and turns into a glowing, warm embrace. It is the design equivalent of a cashmere sweater. There is a common fear that dark colors shrink a room, but this is a massive misconception. Dark colors actually create an infinite void. Picture yourself looking into a deep well or the night sky. The bottom is impossible to find. By using a deep midnight blue or a soft black on the far wall of a narrow kitchen, a focal point is created that pulls the eye inward, making the room feel significantly longer. This works best when paired with an alabaster white on the side walls. The contrast acts like a runway, leading the gaze toward the dark depth. To keep this from feeling too cold, texture is the best friend. A backsplash of handmade Zalige tiles in that same midnight shade catches light at different angles, creating a shimmering effect like moving water. This movement prevents the dark color from feeling like a dead end. Throw in a chunky marble countertop with heavy gray veining, and suddenly the tiny galley looks like a high-end Manhattan bistro. It is bold, brave, and completely distracts the brain from the physical limitations of the walls. Biophilic design is a fancy term for bringing the outdoors in, and it is a secret weapon for small spaces. When humans see colors that occur in nature, the brain naturally relaxes. A relaxed brain perceives more space. Consider a soft, muted sage on the cabinetry. This color is a neutral in the eyes of Mother Nature. It plays incredibly well with light filtering through a window, reflecting an organic glow. To make this feel intentional and grounded, introduce terracotta. This could be through brick flooring or artisanal clay pots on an open shelf. The warmth of the reddish clay acts as a perfect foil to the coolness of the sage. This pairing creates a sense of rhythm. Using these earth tones makes the boundaries of the room feel porous, as if the kitchen is just an extension of the world outside. Add some linen Roman shades in a natural flax color to soften the window frames. Every time the breeze hits those shades, the whole room feels like it is exhaling. If the goal is a kitchen that feels like a glass of bubbly at sunset, this is the route to take. Champagne pink is not a juvenile pink. It is a sophisticated, nude tone with a heavy dose of beige and a drop of peach. It acts as the most flattering light bulb in paint form. When applied to walls, it gives everyone in the room a healthy, vibrant glow. In a small space, this warmth is incredibly inviting. However, to prevent it from feeling too sugary, anchor it with something industrial. Slate gray is the perfect partner. Slate gray floor tiles or a honed soapstone countertop sitting against those glowing pink walls provides a sophisticated architectural edge. It is the leather jacket over a silk dress. This combination works wonders in kitchens with poor natural light. Since the champagne tone has such high reflectivity without being jarring, it bounces whatever light is available around the room, making the corners feel soft rather than shadowy. There is a reason why looking at the horizon is so peaceful. It represents endless space. Recreate that horizon line in a kitchen by using a soft sky blue. Painting the lower cabinets in this airy blue and using a very light pale oak for shelving and countertops essentially mimics the beach. The blue acts as the water, and the oak acts as the sand. This is a classic Scandinavian trick for making small, dark apartments feel expansive. The pale oak reflects a massive amount of light, but brings a tactile, natural warmth that white laminate cannot provide. This palette thrives on minimalism. It asks for the clutter to be cleared so the colors can do the heavy lifting. Using a simple white subway tile with a light gray grout adds just a bit of geometric interest without overwhelming the senses. It is clean, it is crisp, and it makes the entire room feel like it is filled with fresh air. For the lovers of the lived-in luxury movement, this pairing is the gold standard. A deep olive green on the cabinets creates a sense of heritage and permanence. It feels like a room that has stories to tell. The magic happens when burnished copper is introduced. This isn't the shiny, fake copper from a craft store. This is the deep, glowing metal of a vintage French pot. Copper for the faucet, cabinet poles, or a hanging pot rack creates a high-contrast environment. The way the green absorbs the light while the copper catches and reflects it makes the space feel incredibly lush. In a small kitchen, this richness makes the space feel intentional rather than cramped. It says that this room is a jewel box. Keep the ceiling a very bright, clean white and ensure lighting is layered. Under cabinet LEDs wash the countertops in light, highlighting the intersection where the olive meets the copper. It is moody, soulful, and feels like a secret club. If the choice is between a modern look and something timeless, Greige is the answer. It is the perfect middle ground between gray and beige, taking the best qualities of both. It has the coolness of gray to keep things feeling fresh, but the warmth of beige to prevent it from feeling like a basement. In a tiny kitchen, a monochromatic greige look where the cabinets, walls, and trim are all the same color creates a seamless, infinite effect. To give this look a spine, use matte black accents. A matte black faucet or black light fixture provides the necessary visual punctuation. Without the black, the greige might feel a bit like oatmeal. With the black, it feels like a high-end boutique hotel. The matte finish is key because it doesn't reflect light in a distracting way. Instead, it absorbs it, creating clean lines that define the space without cluttering it. It is for the person who finds beauty in the details and wants a calm, organized hub. The ceiling is often the most neglected part of a kitchen renovation. Most people paint it a flat white and forget it exists. In a small kitchen, this is a missed opportunity. If the upper cabinets and walls are the same color, consider taking that color all the way up and across the ceiling. This is called color drenching. It completely erases the lines of the room. When the ceiling is the same color as the walls, the brain loses its sense of where the vertical ends and the horizontal begins. This creates an incredible sense of height. If that feels too daring, a ceiling that is just 1 or 2 shades lighter than the walls creates a soft gradient that mimics the sky, drawing the eye upward and making the room feel infinitely tall. The space above your head is the biggest unused canvas in the home. A kitchen isn't just a place to boil pasta. It is the setting for your morning reflections and late-night conversations. The size of the room does not dictate the quality of the memories made within it. Mastering the art of color psychology and embracing the principles of depth and light turns a cramped footprint into a sprawling sanctuary. The secret isn't to hide the smallness, but to make every square inch intentional. Change your perspective on color, and you change your perspective on your home. You deserve a space that feels as big as your ambitions. Take these palettes, find the one that resonates with your soul, and start painting your way toward a bigger life.